the popular Ross Tucker, Westwood One, CBS Sports, NFL, college football analyst, and he hosts the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. He'll also be on the call Thursday night for the Bears and the Commanders on Westwood One. Ross, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Dan. Doing fantastic. How are you, man?
Well, we're good. We're just trying to figure out how bad things are. Let's start with the Giants. And is this a bump in the road, or is this a pothole that can't be filled this year?
Probably a pothole that can't be filled this year. I am a little curious to see how they look when they get their two best offensive players back. I mean, they have a Pro Bowl left tackle in Andrew Thomas, who does make a significant difference for them up front. And they just, I mean, Dan, I don't feel like they've ever given Daniel Jones good receivers. I mean, I'm watching last night, Isaiah Hodgins and Paris Campbell, they are a team. It's funny because we always have these debates about running backs and how important they are. I got news for you. Saquon Barkley is really important to the Giants because he's by far their most talented skill position player, their most explosive player. And I think he gives Daniel Jones some easy completions because they don't have a very good receiving core.
Okay, but they do have Waller. He was supposed to be a difference maker. This is a team that went to the playoffs. They won a playoff game. Barkley banged up again. But that offensive line, I don't know if one offensive lineman coming back is going to cover up all those blemishes here. Are they going to be the worst team in their division?
Yeah, I think they are. Which is surprising to me. You know, a lot of people thought the Giants would take a big step back from last year. I thought they'd be about what they were. I actually thought, you know, year two for Daniel Jones in that system with Brian Dable, I thought he would build upon what he did last year. I was okay with the Giants giving him that contract. I think the thought process was, hey, you know, he played really well in the second half of the year. He played awesome in a road playoff game that we won. Now he'll be second year in the system. We'll get him some better weapons. He'll be even better. And it just has not happened so far at all. Not even close.
Okay, could you see a scenario where the Giants are out of it and then all of a sudden Waller would be available, Saquon Barkley may be available to trade?
You know, the trade deadline's still pretty early in the NFL. You know, it's Halloween this year. They keep pushing it back. It's interesting, Dan, because if you got to like mid-November or even more like baseball, like late November, I feel like you'd see more trades like that.
Yeah.
But that's tough to do in the NFL when you still have 2 months left. That's a lot of football to be played. I mean, you're talking about these teams still playing 9 games.
But do you think the NFL doesn't want that they don't want teams to be giving up earlier, or you're renting player? I'm not sure what the logic would be as to why you have a trade deadline that's not, you know, halfway deeper through the season.
I think that they always had the fear, Dan, that teams would, the later it goes, it would give the impression that teams were giving up on the season. And the NFL is very sensitive to that, and maybe rightfully so. They really don't like when people talk or believe that a team is tanking for a draft pick. You know, what the NFL believes in is any given Sunday, anybody can win. Look, the Cardinals beat the Cowboys by double digits. That's really what they want to hang their hat on, I think, is the competitiveness of every game. It is interesting, though, because it's like the total polar opposite, I feel like, Dan, of like basketball, where basketball, so much of the conversation is the transactions that are made and the moves and the guy. And it feels like the NFL doesn't want it to be about that other than like the draft and free agency. They don't want the season to be about anything other than the season, not teams and the transactions and roster moves they're making.
Talking to Ross Tucker, Westwood One and CBS Sports NFL and college football analyst, former NFL offensive lineman. I started the show because I had this moment last night. I'm watching the game, and I'm watching Pete Carroll on the sidelines. He's 72. He's the youngest 72-year-old guy that you probably would ever be around. And I wondered, you got Belichick, who might be on the hot seat, and looks like maybe the game is passing him by in what, you know, he did before, and you can't do it now. But here's Pete Carroll refreshed. had a rebuild on that team at 70, traded away a potential future Hall of Fame quarterback. And then I started thinking about Deion Sanders with the spirit that he has with Colorado. It's a college type spirit that Pete Carroll still has, that he took from USC to Seattle. And I was wondering, Deion could do that. Deion could do what Pete Carroll's doing from the standpoint of that enthusiasm, that energy that's there. And I don't know why I just had that connection between those two, the oldest coach in the NFL, and then Deion's impact in college football. And then Bill Belichick is sort of, dangling in limbo here in New England.
Dan, there's several awesome topics off of that statement by you. Number one is that I really feel like with every passing year, the positivity of Pete Carroll, right? The has everybody's back and the encouragement, that reinforcement, that plays much better with these young guys, Dan, than the negative reinforcement in New England. I truly believe that makes a big difference in terms of the motivation. I don't think that the negative reinforcement in New England is as powerful or as impactful as it used to be. The other thing is, Dan, I don't know if I ever really thought of this till you just said it, right? If they don't throw that pass against New England in 2014 and they hand the ball out to Marshawn Lynch and they win that game, okay? And Pete Carroll has multiple national championships and multiple Super Bowls. Has anybody else ever done that? And as we keep talking about him and the success he's having again now, where does Pete Carroll then stack up? Because Saban has been unbelievable in college.
Yeah.
Didn't really do it in the NFL. Now, Belichick's never really been in college, but also Belichick's never really done it with anybody other than Tom Brady. I just think that Pete Carroll, especially if he had won that second Super Bowl, not that you have to, but if he had two Super Bowls with, I don't know, what did he get in college, 2 or 3? That would put him in a really unique category, and he'd have a heck of an argument when you start talking about the best coaches ever.
If you had, we looked at football the way basketball looks at basketball. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's the football. If they did the Football Hall of Fame as opposed to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, then maybe you'd be looking at Pete Carroll differently. That, now his status or his place in history changes because what he did in college and what he did and has done in the NFL. You get 2 national titles. You won a Super Bowl. You were literally on the doorstep of a second one there. But at 72, it's remarkable. And, they're not going to win that division, but they're going to be a playoff team, wild card team probably. He brought in Geno Smith. They draft well. They got rid of Russell Wilson. They got an unbelievable haul back from Denver. Pete and John Schneider have done a wonderful job.
And I think, Dan, last year might have been his finest coaching job. I mean, going into the year, when you told me they were going to have 2 rookies starting at offensive tackle and Geno Smith at quarterback, it was like Top Gun. Like, you're going to do what? And I thought they might be the worst team in the league, and they made the playoffs. I mean, that was really, really impressive. Obviously, what he did with Russell Wilson and Legion of Boom and that stuff is impressive, but I don't know that there was a better coaching job that Pete Carroll's done than last year getting that Seattle team into the postseason.
I said this yesterday. Would Bill Belichick, the GM, fire Bill Belichick, the coach?
No, but Bill Belichick, the head coach, would fire Bill Belichick, the GM, if it worked that way. Listen, Dan, they're going to have to do something, right? Like, I don't know what's going to be, but it's really interesting. They are victims of their own success. I have a bunch of friends that are Patriots fans, and the real issue isn't that, and Seton can talk about this, but the real issue isn't that they're 1-3 or whatever. The real issue is there's not really any path right now for them to get back to being a championship caliber team. Like, when you're looking at the Patriots, what are you saying? Well, at least we have this or we have that, or if we do this or we do that. There's nothing right now. There's nothing right now that gives you any hope that they can be back to being a Super Bowl contender. And after 20 years of it was Super Bowl or bust, these people aren't okay, Dan, with 7 wins, 8 wins. Oh, it was a pretty good year. We went 9-8. We had a winning season. They're very spoiled, and rightfully so. And so they're in a really tough spot here, because once your fans start to become apathetic, or once your fans feel like they don't have hope, that's a problem.
All right, you're going to be on the call of the Bears Commanders on Thursday night. There's a bet in place for Meat Friday because the Bears and Broncos just played. Paulie is a Bears fan, Fritzy a Broncos fan. And the loser doesn't get to take part in Meat Friday until his team wins again. So Paulie lost on Sunday, but he's got an out with this game on Thursday. If the Bears beat the Commanders, then Meat Friday is restored for Paulie. Who do you have winning Thursday night with the Commanders and the Bears with Meat Friday at stake?
Oh, man. I forgot that Meat Friday was at stake. That had to be brutal for Paulie. Because I know Paulie, I'm pretty sure Paulie invented Meat Friday. So that's got to be killing him. I like the Commanders. I know, you're supposed to say that the Bears are winless and they're going to win one of these, and maybe a short week against the Commanders team that just went to overtime against the Eagles. But I don't know, Dan. I'm actually pretty impressed by the Commanders, watching them against the Eagles on Sunday. I've had several quarterbacks tell me over the years, you don't really know about a guy until they have a terrible game, throw 3 or 4 picks, their team loses, and how they bounce back from that. Well, if that's the case, then the Commanders might have their quarterback, because Sam Howell was terrible against the Bills, 4 picks. They lose by 30 points. He goes into Philadelphia and completes over 70% of his passes, including that drive all the way down the field, which probably would have been a game-winning drive if Ron Rivera went for 2, but that's a whole other conversation. I think Howell might be the real deal, and I think the Commanders win that game. I mean, the Bears are just a mess right now. The Chase Claypool thing, the defensive coordinator. I mean, they're like the bad news Bears right now.
Okay, but they're probably going to end up with 2 of the top 4 picks in the draft. They got
right now
Carolina's pick. They got their pick.
Yeah, right now it would be the top 2 picks.
Yeah,
which is funny because unlike the Patriots, which is so bizarre, right? The Bears actually have hope in that regard. Well, at least we're going to have the top 2 picks. But that's also, Dan, what they said last year. Last year, they're like, hey, Fields looks good, but keep losing so we can get the number 1 pick. We'll got Fields. We'll trade the number 1 pick for a king's ransom. Then the next year's, we're at the next year now, and they haven't won a game yet. Fields doesn't look like the guy. So how many years in a row are you going to do this if you're the Bears? Is this like the Sixers, and we're trusting the process of getting the number 1 pick every year, and eventually somehow we'll be good?
We were just talking about movies. The movie Rounders, I like. I just hate John Malkovich's accent when he's KGB. We were going to try to guess what one of your favorite movies is of all time. Okay, we each get one guess. All right. Todd?
Airplane.
Airplane. Okay. Seton?
Animal House.
All right. Marvin?
Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh. Paulie?
I'm so sure of one of them. I'm taking it off the board. The program. My pick will be. I would bet a week's pay that it was in Ross's top 3 that he put together before that. I bet a week's pay at it. My guess would be Old School because of Ross's age.
Okay. I'm going to go Gladiator.
Oh, I forgot about Gladiator. I love Gladiator. First of all, Paulie knows me like a book. I mean, Paulie, starting defense, plays at the table. Did I watch that? Did I watch that movie the night before 2-Day started? Ever since I was 14 years old? Yes, I did watch the program every year. By the way, the worst guess by far was Fritzy with Airplane. Come on, I'm 44 years old. Airplane. I mean, come on, Fritzy.
That was a hysterical movie.
Old School was an excellent guess. That is up there for sure. I can't believe this. I must have said it on the show before, but my number 1 favorite movie ever is Shawshank Redemption.
Oh.
Marvin.
Nailed it.
I must have said that somewhere. There's no way Marvin just pulled that out of nowhere.
Marvin?
It's everybody's favorite movie.
It's not mine. It's a great movie.
It's a great guess.
Okay.
I'll give you a couple more before I forget.
Yeah.
Okay. Rocky IV. I mean, that movie single-handedly ended the Cold War.
You're the
Have you
best.
ever heard of it? Rocky IV. Okay. And then very underrated comedy. I laugh multiple times a week just thinking about it. Kingpin with Bill Murray.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Kingpin.
Wasn't that shot in Pennsylvania?
Of course it was.
Okay. I thought
Yes, Eastern Pennsylvania, like
Yeah.
Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
For sure. I would say it was tough for me for the comedy between Old School and Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
And then in terms of a sports movie, I really like Hoosiers, believe it or not.
Yep.
Like I'm a big Hoosiers guy.
Well, you're an underdog kind of guy.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And we have Sylvester Stallone in studio, who knows Rocky IV quite well.
Tomorrow, man. I can't do this, man. Tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, even though it's Rocky 3. There is no tomorrow.
That could have been a little
If
bit
I can
better.
change, you can
If I
change.
could change and you could change,
You had
maybe we all could
Todd,
change.
Todd, you had the wrong
I
movie.
thought that was Rocky 3 before.
Sorry about
Maybe
that.
they don't like
Dan,
you
I'm
none too much either.
convinced.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm convinced that if you had the Rocky IV soundtrack playing while I got in the ring with like the heavyweight champ of the UFC or boxing, that I would win that fight. As long as like the training montage or Eye of the Tiger is on in the speakers
Yeah.
of the arena from Rocky IV, I will beat anybody in a fight. Just make sure it's really loud.
Good to talk to you. Have fun on Thursday night.
Will do. See you guys.
That's Ross Tucker. He'll be on the call Thursday night. Bears Commanders on Westwood 1.